All right, all right. How y'all feeling? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope you're feeling good. Hope you're feeling good. It's the day after the eclipse. And I don't know, some crazy things going on in your life and some crazy things could be happening. I don't know. Could seem a little weird. Could. I know the weather seems a little weird. I don't know where you guys are at, where you're watching from. Why don't you go ahead and get in the comments and tell me where you're watching from? Where are you? I'm in Carolina. It's a beautiful day in South Carolina. Yes, it is. It's beautiful. Trying to get everything organized for you guys. See what I got going on. Let's talk it out Tuesday. Talk it out Tuesday with Tori and Tonya. And today we got a topic for you. We got a topic for you. Yes, we do. We'll talk a little bit about Angel Reese out here in these internet streets. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. You know what y'all been saying. Y'all been giving the girl a hard time. I don't know why you've been giving her a hard time, but you have. It's not right. It's not right. You know what you've been doing. Telling her she can't cry. I don't know what that means. I don't even know what that is supposed to mean. You're not going to tell us. You're not going to tell us we can't cry. No, we're not going to do that. So Tori and I, we're going to talk about that today. So that's the topic of the day. Right. Cry if I want to. It's my life. I'm going to cry if I want to. If you got a problem with it, then that's you. I mean, I know a lot of men out here, you got to man up. You got to be a man, You can't cry. There's no crying in sports. Wrong. I don't know who told you that. I don't know anything. All right? So we're going to talk about it. Get my ladies in here and we're going to talk about it. Let's let them know how we feel. Y'all out here watching our basketball games now. Thank you. Women's sports is getting a little recognition. So we're definitely appreciate that from everybody. Even a lot of women hadn't been watching a lot of women's sports. I used to watch a lot more men's basketball than I did women's basketball. I did. But we in a new era. You're not going to tell us we can't cry. All right? You watching Miss Tonya TV? Yes, you are. I'm Miss Tonya. Before we get into this mix, before we get into this conversation, got to let you know. We need to do what we always do when we get here. We got to do a little breath work. So let's get right on into it so I can get Tori in here and we can start talking. And if we start crying, guess what? We can do that too, all right? What I want you to do is inhale to the count of 4. And we're going to hold it for a few seconds. And then we're going to exhale. And we'll hold that for a few seconds. And we'll repeat that a few times. Now, you can close your eyes if you're in a place that you can do that. I don't want you to do that if you're driving. Don't do that if you're driving. Don't do that if you're actually sitting at the desk. If you got your head pods on and you're taking a listen, we'll vibrate with us and listen. But if you can close your eyes, close your eyes. You want to take it a step further, put your hands over your heart and feel that you are alive. That's you. Let's get into it. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. One more time. Let's inhale. Hold it a few seconds. And exhale. Yeah. Doesn't that feel great? It absolutely does. It feels real good. If you had your eyes closed, you can take your time and open them when you feel like it because you're listening. And if you're watching, still, you can have your eyes closed. Happy Tuesday. Let's talk about Tuesday with Tori and Miss Tonya. And we got a conversation that we want to have. Cry if I want to. There's a whole lot going on, in basketball, a whole lot with the sports. And, women's basketball is getting a whole lot of numbers. Women basketball players are getting a whole lot more recognition, a whole lot more respect. And we've got some tears flowing. And we've got some people who seem to think that there's a problem with that. So I'm gonna get Tori on in here, and we're gonna get this conversation going. Tori, how you feeling?
I'm feeling amazing. I'm loving this weather.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a little cool outside. I love the weather. I don't like summer, so I can enjoy this type of weather year long, year round. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Now, how you gonna be from the South and say I don't like the summer?
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Fall or winter me, please. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
The thing for me is I just really want the weather here to make up its mind.
Well, South Carolina weather is rather bipolar.
It's straight bipolar, you know, straight bipolar.
Oh my goodness. What's up, KJ? Yeah, KJ says, "Hey y'all. Hey y'all. Hey girl. Hey."
Hey, how you doing? Good to have you here on Talk It Out Tuesday. We got a good conversation for the people today. I mean, I got to ask you because sometimes you know what's going on and sometimes you don't. All right. So before I ask this question, let me just go ahead and say, but you do know that South Carolina won the women's NCAA Division One championship. You know that, right?
Yes, I know that.
Woo! You took a little bit too long. I thought you was getting ready to say no, girl. I was going to be like, we gonna move you on out the state.
Yes, I was super excited about that. Now, I'm not gonna tell no fibs and say I was all in watching every game like you was, but I watched the highlights. But I have been a fan of Dawn since she was playing herself.
Right.
So I am just so happy for her. She deserves this. I'm
Absolutely.
loving it. I'm loving it. So,
Well, have you
I was
heard?
actually
Go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say I was just feeding off y'all posts because I wasn't watching the games like y'all were. I was just
Mhm.
looking at y'all posts. Y'all posts had me hype.
I'm telling you, girl. Well, let me tell you something. Throughout it's a tournament, so it goes from they go to the Sweet 16, then they go to the Elite Eight, the Final Four, and then we got the
Mhm.
championship. But I don't know so
Yeah.
much if you knew what was going on with Angel Reese. You have any idea?
I saw some highlights of that as well. How I was like, why are they criticizing this young lady so much? And then I saw that her one of her teammates had stood up for her and she was like, you don't know the angel that I know.
Right.
So I just like, that's why a lot of times when we post things on social media, sometimes it's best to stay out of the comments. Because if you're in the comments and you're not as strong, you don't have the thick skin, those people, there's so many internet bullies that is
There are.
crazy to me.
Mhm.
So, but the
Yeah,
highlights that I've seen, I see that she was an amazing player, but it's just the
absolutely.
media and the internet is giving her such a hard time.
They are. And I mean, she's one of the ones as well who has really changed the entire dynamic of this game a little bit. Well, I won't say the entire dynamic of this game. That's going a little bit too far, but who has helped bring the spotlight to the game. People are talking a lot about one particular player, and it's not one particular player. As good as she is, it is, not only is it a team sport, but there's an entire division, So women's college basketball is just gotten a new light, and Angel has definitely been one of those key players who has brought the spotlight a lot, brought the spotlight a little brighter to the game. And after the
Hmm.
loss with Iowa, they had her, she shed a few little tears, you know, which I
Absolutely.
absolutely think is fine,
Yeah.
you know. And I
Yeah.
say, hey, Angel can cry if she wants to, but it's been commentators out here who have been making comments and who have been saying, listen, if you want to be the bully out here, you want to be quote unquote the villain, you know, then You don't get to cry when you lose a game. What do you think about that? Men saying like, quite a few people, not just men, but there's been quite a few people saying like, if you're going to be the villain and you're going to talk this junk and trash talk and stuff like that, which is a part of most sports, most athletes talk a little junk. You know what I mean? Then you
Oh
can't
yeah.
cry. What's your thought?
Yeah. I totally disagree with that. And my thing is, like I said, I wasn't watching, I wasn't all in like everyone else. So my question is did she why is she being portrayed as the villain?
Well, there's this great rivalry with she and Caitlin Clark.
Mhm.
Last year, Caitlin's a trash talker. Like I said, all of most athletes kind of, they got their little thing. They feeling themselves. But what she had done is wave her hand in her face, and Angel was one of the ones who responded. She was like, you're not getting ready to be like this. And this is, I'm glad you asked this because let me backtrack a little bit. Before quote unquote Angel somewhat became the bully, it was really Caitlyn out here, stunting on people, kind of, a little disrespectful edge, waving her hands, shooing people off like, and she was really going hard with that. And Angel was like, "Hey, you got the wrong one." So Angel did it back, and then Angel, pointed to her ring finger and everything. So then somehow the bad guy flipped from Caitlyn to Angel because Angel was responding to that. So I don't necessarily think that makes her a villain. But anyway,
Okay.
but
Yeah. Okay.
anyway, that's how
She
they
was just
cast her.
responding. And see, that's the thing. I saw the clip of what you just described, and I didn't know the total context of it. So that's why they're, portraying her because that was everywhere. I didn't see any clips where Caitlyn, and of course, Caitlyn started it, but that's not the part that they're going to show. The
Right. She
media is going to
instigated
show the
it.
part. Yeah. So the media is going to show Angel, of course, because I saw that clip and I was like, what is going on here? But like I said, I wasn't watching the game like that. So I didn't know the full story behind it. But I did see the clip where she was in Caitlyn and holding up her ring finger. So I was like, okay. But at the end of the day, it's like you said, we all gonna talk trash. Because when I was watching knee deep into sports, I would talk trash all day, every day.
As a
And when we
fan.
lost, yeah, yeah.
As a
And
fan,
when we
people talk
lost,
trash.
and when we lost, yeah, I was upset. Honestly, be honest with you, that's the reason why I had to stop watching sports because I was so knee deep in it. My emotions was too high. My blood, I was like, no, I can't do this to myself. I can't do
Mhm.
this to myself.
Yep.
And KJ says because we saw that what Caitlyn did to Raven is at University of South Carolina, but
Yes.
our girl got her revenge.
Exactly. Raven. She got her revenge and she got a ring. So, but that's true because Caitlyn had, she played Raven and basically Angel and LSU was like, y'all not gonna disrespect us the way you was disrespecting South Carolina. So, hey, how did she become the bad guy? She was standing up. You dig what I'm saying? And very
Right.
interesting enough, I realized that Caitlyn toned all of that crap down. She didn't do that this year. None at all, because after she sees that didn't work, number 1, and
Yeah.
now that they put this villain thing on Angel,
Mm-hmm.
she realized, "Hey, I can't be like this." So now all of a sudden, Caitlyn is the sweetheart of of women's basketball, you know? So
Mm.
flip that around. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, if you guys are listening to us right now, watching us here on YouTube, go ahead and hashtag TIO Tuesdays. That stands for Talk It Out Tuesdays. Go ahead and put that in the hashtag. Let the people know that, you're listening. You're in on the conversation. We got some stuff going on and we're talking about a few things.
And you know what? And what's up, Kim? She said, "Morning, ladies, checking in from Vegas today." You know what thought came to mind?
What is that?
I heard this. I don't know if it's from a rap song. KJ, help me out. It says, it's okay when they do it, but it's a problem when we do it." I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Well, listen, it sounds I I don't know the song, but the words that just came out of your mouth They sound right to me. Okay, so it was
Yes,
okay when
sir.
Caitlyn, and you're exactly right. It was okay when Caitlyn was out there waving her hand in people's face, like, showing off and everything. It was all cool. But
Yeah,
when Angel
yeah,
did it, all of a sudden it was bullying. She was the villain.
yeah. Thank you, KJ. So you're right enough to I heard it somewhere, KJ. I don't know where I heard it, but I heard it somewhere. I'm trying to be hip, but yeah, but that's true. Precious Pearl, hello, how are you? She said, hello, TNT and everybody. Passion and love of the game comes out in different ways, tears and trash talk included. Absolutely.
Yes, we can do it. And the thing for me about this whole thing, after the loss this year to Iowa and at the press conference, they were asking her some questions about we're talking about Angel here.
Hmm.
About things that have been going on with her, some of the harder things that have been going on, and she's let them know that she's had a difficult year because so many things have, like you said, like the internet will tear you down if you're looking at those comments and you're watching what people doing, but they've sexualized her, they harass her, and not only that, but she just came off of a loss, which you're gonna have some emotions. And I'm trying to figure out, like, why was it such a big deal that she cried? Like, why can't she cry? I'm saying, like, we're women, right? And we can
Yeah,
cry if we want to,
absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely.
We
What's up, Nicole? Nicole put the hashtag. Hashtag TIO Tuesday. That's what's up. Thank you
Oh,
so much for
yeah.
joining us this afternoon. And I don't get it. They just over hyped it. I mean, I don't see the big deal either. They made it bigger than what it really was. But
They
that
did.
comes with it. That comes with the game. Cause like I said, when I was watching sports like that, I was crying too. I'm like, and I'm looking at my son not crazy because when you're a diehard fan of a team, always say we lost, we lost. Man, I be looking at my son now like, oh, you playing now? I like at the end of the day, I had to realize, Tori, you ain't what they playing out there. You ain't doing nothing but sitting, watching, screaming at the TV. And I just be looking at my son. He just be yelling at the TV, man, what's going? I'm like, oh my good. And that's how I was telling you. That's why I had to stop because I was yelling at the TV. I was getting it all in my feelings.
But
But
it's
that's part. But
okay.
yeah, it is, and that's what I'm saying. It all comes with the territory. You gonna talk trash. You gonna cry. It is what it is.
Yeah, because imagine, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're athletic, you're competitive, you're very, very competitive. This is an important game. This is a championship. So there's a whole lot
Mm-hmm.
of emotions anyway. So as a woman athlete, do you throw your emotions away because you've decided to play a sport? Now, it's unfortunate that men think that they can't cry or
Mm-hmm.
that they shouldn't cry. If they wanna stuff their feelings down and not really, just be real about the moment and be real about the emotion, okay, that's you, bruh. That's you. But what you not gonna do is come in here and tell us as women that we can't cry.
Right, right, right. Quote of the day: it's okay to cry if you're in pain. Remember, tears are prayers too. They travel to God when we can't speak. Ooh, let me read that one more time. I like that. It's okay to cry if you're in pain. Remember, tears are prayers too. They travel to God when we can't speak. Mm, mm, mm. You can't cry. You can cry. Ain't no shame in it. Will Smith. You can cry. Ain't no shame in it. Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I
Oh
agree
man.
wholeheartedly. Listen.
And I would always say, my thing was always saying that tears are liquid prayers when you don't have the words to say what you need to say. And God understands our tears. So I love both of those quotes. Absolutely.
Mhm. I
And
can
KJ
resonate with that.
Yeah, and KJ says, I feel like anyone who is upset the angel cries should personally cry more. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. You holding too much in. You let it out.
Yeah, why you so hard? Like,
Right,
why you so
right,
hard? You can't relate or understand that?
right. What's up, Lindsay? She says, hello, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Absolutely. I don't know, Tori. I'm just, like I say, I'm happy that We've got a lot more eyes on the sports because it's definitely going to make a huge difference. I would love to see the expansion and more money invested into women's sports, which I hope this particular sport, which is women's basketball, I hope that translate and goes over into the WNBA because personally, I'm kind of excited to see Angel and also Caitlin Clark and also Cardosa. I'm just like really excited to see these women go into the league and
Mhm.
all the recognition that they have been a part of and been a part of that light to shine on women's basketball. I'm hoping that
Right.
it's going to shine even brighter in the WNBA.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And
And I
speaking of Cardosa, that means we gotta talk about South Carolina. South
Woohoo!
Carolina, come on and raise up. I know.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
NCAA 2024 Division One Women's Champions. Let's shout
Yeah.
them out, give them some love, a whole lot of love. They deserve it. Shouts out to Jolette Law, who's one of the assistant coaches and one of our hometown heroes, our hometown girls,
Yes.
for South Carolina. She's the assistant coach to one of the assistant coaches on the team there.
Absolutely.
So,
Mhm.
definitely I'm excited about that. Very, very happy for her, you know.
Yes.
Um, but we did it.
We did. We
Wait,
did.
you heard me say we like I was out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. Listen, I say we too. I say we did it. And like I said, I ain't been watching like y'all.
We
I
did
still
it.
say we.
Hey, I am so proud of
Yeah.
these young women. I love all of them.
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Some of them are I've got my favorite players, and I've got my favorite players really on a lot of the teams, but definitely I was going for South Carolina. But this
Mhm.
entire season of women's basketball just had me in a chokehold.
Mm.
Really, really did, you know? I see we got
Yeah.
Precious Pearl with a comment here.
And she said, "You just said it, Tanya, as I'm typing. Women athletes can cry and men can too. I think female athletes are masculinized." I made that word up, I think. I think you did too. And
But I
are
like it.
therefore and are therefore seen as weak if they hurt. Women and are therefore seen as weak if they cry, if hurt. Yeah,
She's
absolutely.
right.
Yeah, it
Listen,
is.
they can't transfer their feelings over to us, and I certainly don't want women to feel like they can't cry. And it happens to
Right.
us even women who aren't athletes. You know what I'm saying? It
Mhm.
happens to us. So, but we're gonna get a little bit more into that. But let's just give a little bit more to South Carolina. Respect to them.
Absolutely.
I love 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 this team. And what's the team without the coach?
What? The GOAT,
Give
Coach
it up for the
Wines.
GOAT.
What? The GOAT? Oh my gosh, she did that.
Listen,
She did that.
listen. Did you see Louis Vuitton Don out there?
Y Yes. I said, "Okay, Don."
Mhm. Mhm, mhm. Right.
Yes.
Les is okay, we're gonna get to Les, but we gotta give it up for Don. And what I wanna say that's very interesting and
Mhm.
why I thought it was important to I'm sorry here, why I thought it was important to talk about this, because Les is asking the question right now.
Mhm.
Les is asking, who's saying wait, who is saying me or women can't cry? I think maybe he meant to
He
put
said
men.
he corrected it meant men.
Okay. All right.
Who's
Yes, Les. I don't know if you saw it, but there's been sports commentators out here. The guy who is on Speak, Acho, or he was making a statement, and I pretty much, I'm just gonna kind of summarize it a bit. But what he's saying, if Angel Reese was gonna be, uh, the bad guy, the villain, she's out
Yeah,
here, she's
the
talking all
villain.
her junk, you know, then she can't be out here like that. And then when she lose a game, she can't cry. And when he said that, like, I was listening to him, I was like, "No, he did not just say that." But the thing that was good for me is that there are people out there who felt the same way I did. Like, dude, what are you talking about? Like,
Right.
he I don't know if he's trying to walk it back a little bit, but I will say that was a whole lot of people's sentiment. They feel like Angel shouldn't have been crying. She's, you big, you bad, you talking junk, you feel like, you this, that, and the other. But when you lose the game, you sitting up there crying. So yeah, Les, you might want to look that up, bro. And so
Yeah.
that's what we were talking about. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I just feel
It
like
is.
as as a woman, and then for us as black women, we can even take this off of sports. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
you notice, we're supposed to be strong. We always got to be
Mhm.
tough, So a lot of times I feel like we don't express our feelings as much as we probably should. Do you often feel that way? You feel like, there's so much put on our shoulders that maybe people don't want us to be as vulnerable as we are. I hear them talking about, they want us to be a little bit more feminine, but when the sister out here crying, then they feel like, well, what you doing? So I just don't know. People need to make up their mind. I don't know. What do you think?
Listen, what I think is I'm gonna be Tori. I don't subscribe to being strong. I'm gonna operate in my vulnerability and femininity all day, every day. I'm like, my brother called me. He's like, man, sis, listen, you like I am one of those, what you call it, damsels in distress. I'm one of those. I don't try to be strong. I'm strong when I have to. Like, you remember we had a podcast months ago where I was talking about I try not to cry when it comes to crying. I cry at a drop of a dime, but I try sometimes to control my tears when my son is, in my presence. But I learned at that particular episode that I remember a guy in the comments, like, I think it was Malik, I'm not sure, but he said that's what you need to show your son. Instead of
Right.
hiding your tears, you need to let him see you be vulnerable. That was one of the things that I used to try to hide. And now, like, when I cry now, when he's around, I just let the tears flow. Whereas before, I would just go in my room and didn't allow him to see me cry. But now, this past couple of weeks, especially when him about to graduate, he's seen me cry more than more these past couple of weeks of his past 18 years.
Right, but listen, there's so many tears. I mean, we can have tears of sorrow, pain, hurt,
Yeah, yeah.
fear. We
Mhm.
got tears of joy
Yeah.
too, because
Yes.
that's what Don had going on. It was like
Yes.
tears of joy, or
Right.
I guess maybe joy. It could have been like a whole range of emotions,
Yeah, it
joy,
was.
just overwhelmed. She could have been a
Mhm.
little bit tired, you know what I'm saying? So, when I saw her crying and she just couldn't get the words out as the reporter came right up to her, and that's the thing reporters have to keep in mind as well. It's like
Mhm.
these women have just finished playing a game. And so they're coming at them with these questions when they haven't even had an opportunity to process their emotions yet. And so,
Mhm.
I didn't see anything wrong with it. In fact, when she was crying, I put up a post. I was like, "Cry, Dawn, cry." You know?
Right.
It took a
Right.
lot to get back there. They lost the previous year to the same team. So,
Right.
can you imagine the flood of emotion she was feeling? So the
Right.
only thing she could do was cry.
Right. Right.
And then there's this thing they say, sometimes you might have to cry. You laugh not to cry. Maybe people do that, but I just don't think there's anything wrong with crying.
Not at all.
Mhm.
Not at all. And Kimberly says this is just as ridiculous as the old school notion that men ain't supposed to cry. Yep.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. I wanted to express that too because I feel like men need to get off of that. I mean,
Right.
they're doing it to themselves. You're not seem
Right.
weak because you're not expressing your emotions. In fact, not being able to express your emotions is the actual weakness.
And you and Les on the same page. That's exactly what it is. Problem number one is we equate tears to weakness, especially when it comes to men. And I never understood why that was, because I've always told my son to express themselves. And a lot of times, most men these days, do not like to express, to cry, because there are some women that will throw it up in their face. And that's why a lot of men, from things that I've observed, experiences I've had, most men tell me, conversations that I've had with some of my male friends, like, when I, allow myself to be vulnerable, it's thrown in my face. And I was like, well, you with the wrong one, because the right woman is going to allow you to express your emotions, and they're not going to belittle you for it. I know I nurture that. Like, it's okay to cry. And I'm gonna give you a hug, and if you need to talk, that's just one of the things. But I hate when there's some women that just ridicule men for crying. That's not right. Just as
Isn't
we
it?
need to cry, they need to cry as well.
Absolutely. I agree. I absolutely agree with that. I don't know who made up those rules, but definitely you don't have to go by them.
Right, right. I definitely don't go by them.
Yeah. Live your life. Do what you
Yeah,
need to do.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And I see
Mhm.
my cousins in the building, Mr. Aretha. What's up, Aretha? She said, hey, family. I finally ran across y'all podcast again. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for joining us. And since you probably missed the beginning, make sure you tap into that replay.
Yes. Thank you, lady. Good to have you in the house with us on this Tuesday.
And Les says, all right, Kimberly, that's actually a bigger issue. And he was talking about the notion that men, Kimberly was saying, the notion that men ain't supposed to cry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They need
Like
to.
who made that up?
Right.
Like you just don't have any feelings. And in fact, I feel like that might be what some of the problems with a lot of men anyway. They don't know how to express themselves. They're just stuffing
Hmm.
stuff in, and they're just not dealing with issues when they need to deal with them. And that's a problem.
It
That's
is.
a big problem. Let's talk it
It
out
really.
Tuesdays, guys. I don't know. I don't know what y'all feel. I think some of you are expressing that. But in terms of raising our boys and our sons, do you feel like it's important? Tori, you talked a little bit about crying in front of your son. But I want
Hmm.
to ask the men who happen to be, if we got some men listening, how important do you think it is for them to see you cry as a man? Or how many of you, and women can chime in on this as well, how many women have seen their fathers cry or seen men cry? What does that do to you when you see a man cry? Get in
Ooh,
the,
that's a
get in the
good
comments.
question. That's a great question. That's an amazing question. And I'm just sitting here thinking, the men that I've seen cry in my lifetime, and that I've seen witness my brother cry before. I've seen, oh, my daddy is a cry baby.
But
But I just, yeah,
listen to
he's a
what you
cry
just
baby.
said.
Yeah. No, no,
You
no.
you
I'm
said
saying I went I said when I came to my daddy's like me. He cries at the drop of the hat, but I nurture it because my daddy hadn't seen me in a while, and I just went to see him one year for his birthday. And when he saw me, he was just so happy to see me that he started crying. And I
Aw.
remember and I remember my grandmother, his she passed away right before I had my son. But I remember she said, "My he cried." I said, Grandma, that's just how he is. But my dad is very emotional, and I nurtured it. And we were, because I actually went live when I went to see him, and I said, "Stop crying." He said, "Well, I was just so happy to see." He was just so happy to see me, and it just really melted my heart. So I nurture that, but that's just who he is. That's a part of who he is, and I think that it's important that men express their vulnerability. It's important that they are, around women that allow them to be vulnerable. That is so important. And when
You're
it
right.
comes to your children, just my 2 cents in regards to that, I think it's important for men to allow their children to see them cry.
Mhm.
And I pray that, we will stop telling the little boys to not cry. Like when they fall, suck it up, man up. I can't stand to hear people say man up, especially to a child. I can't.
Yeah.
Ooh, that
To a
does
little
something
boy.
to me. Yeah, I can't stand it. So I think it's important that little boys see their fathers cry, their uncles cry, their grandfathers cry. It's very important. That I think,
Mhm.
that's my opinion, but I think it's so important. I think it helps them to be able to effectively be able to express themselves when they see that vulnerability in a parent, a grandparent, or just men in general. And it may not necessarily be a father, but maybe a father figure. It's important that they see that, because if they don't, then they're going to get this notion that they got to hold stuff in, and holding stuff in is not healthy. It makes
Right.
you sick, and it actually can kill you.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so I think it's important.
I like that. I mean, I've seen my
And I
father
see less.
cry as
Yeah.
well, and I agree with you. I never saw him as weak. I always saw him as I could see the silent strength. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't
Yes.
a harsh
Yes.
talking person. Like I never really heard him yell, or
Mhm.
not to me. He
Yeah.
was always careful with our emotions, and he expressed himself. So I definitely saw that. So I never thought that a
Yes.
man crying would be weak.
And you know what, to be honest with you, that's one of the things that I love about my dad, that he don't mind crying. I love that about him. Les
Yeah.
says Les says society tells men they shouldn't cry. Absolutely. Les, if you still in the building, I need you to answer that question. How do you feel about men crying in front of their children?
Yeah.
I need to know. I want some men to respond to that. I definitely want to know what you guys' perspective on that. But like I said, I think it's so important.
I
So
do too.
important. Yeah,
Absolutely. That's a pretty big deal. It really is.
absolutely.
And if we got some more some people in here listening, like how does it affect you if you see your father, your grandfather cry, or what about your mate? Like if you're
Yeah.
dating and your mate, your spouse, whatever, whoever you're in relationship with, how do you feel seeing him cry? What does that do to you? What are some of your thoughts on that? I'd be curious to hear that.
Oh, Kimberly says crying is actually passionate. Think about it. Anything you really care about, love, are invested in. When you meet someone or lose someone you really admire, when you win something or lose something, people cry at weddings and funerals. All these meaningful things evoke tears. So, in essence, to cry is to care. Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Those tears of
Yeah.
joy, those tears of sorrow.
Yeah.
You're happy, you're extremely overwhelmed. People crying at their kids' graduation. It certainly isn't because you're sad.
Mhm.
Because I know you're gonna be crying at
Right.
your son' graduation.
Listen, listen, Tanya is already coming. Pick up the cap and gown Thursday, so it's already coming. It's becoming real, real. So yeah, it
You
is.
you
And when
you
she
gonna
said,
cry picking up the cap and gown.
and is,
I know you did.
oh God, it's gonna be something. You hear me? And
Mhm.
let's answer the question. He said, uh, I see no issue with crying, but a man has to be comfortable in his skin to show vulnerability. That part. You got to be comfortable to show it, because there are some women that don't allow men to be comfortable in that space. You got to provide a safe space for a man to be comfortable with you, to feel like they can cry. You know what I'm saying? Because I've actually
Yeah.
been in relationships, and they were surprised that I didn't criticize them or belittle them, because I was like, it's okay to cry. And I actually embraced them, and we had, deep conversations, and they just really appreciated it. And I never ever threw it back up in their face. Well, because like some, oh, you was crying, you was just crying. No, I don't do that.
Exactly.
So fellas, when you with the women, they throw it, that's not your person.
She
That's
not the
not your person.
one.
Yeah. That's
Mm-mm.
not your person. Because the real ones, they're gonna allow you to be vulnerable and express yourself like to the fullest.
Absolutely. I
And
agree.
then there was something that I wanted to, I'm trying to see. There was something that
Kimberly?
Kimberly said, yeah, when she was talking about the passion of crying, that the part when she says, think about it, anything that you really care about, love, or invest in. And I just told someone, a friend of mine, just the other day, I said, You say that I'm overprotective. You say I'm overly concerned. I say you should definitely be concerned when I don't ask if you're okay, when I don't call and check on you, when I stop caring, you're gonna be like, you better catch. I'll be like, you better catch me when I cared, because when I don't reach out, when I don't cry, that means I don't care anymore. And then that's the time when you should worry. When I stop caring, I stop caring, that's when you should worry. So I thought about that when I saw that part in her comment, because I just had that conversation with someone the other day. I'm like, you always talking about I care too much, I love too much, but when I stop doing those things, then that's when you should worry.
Hmm.
So
Now I'm gonna say this. I want to say this.
yeah.
I find myself sometimes, and I don't know if you've ever done this, but I often find myself like I will cry quicker when I'm really, really angry, and I think that happens
Mm,
because like I'm so pissed off to a level
mm,
that um that is just the only thing that I feel like I could do because I'm not a violent person. And
mhm,
so I feel like when I get that angry, I
mm.
cry. So I'm
Ooh,
quicker to cry that way. And
ooh.
yeah. And
I'm just gonna say
another one
that.
for me. Go ahead.
No, I just gonna say when you said about the crying, I was just saying, ooh, because if I cry when I'm angry, please, I think you need to leave. You need to exit,
Yeah.
because it's ooh, when I cry when I'm angry, it about to be some trouble.
Yeah.
It about to be some furniture thrown.
I'm telling you because see I'm a person who like I'm a communicator. So I'm always
Mhm,
willing to talk about it. I'm always willing to talk it out,
mhm,
even if it's some feel flooring words, because I don't mind the words being passionate. I don't mind the curse words. Because I feel like just being able to express that is good because you're not holding it in, you know.
mhm.
And by the time I cuss two, three, four cuss, I'm over it. But if I don't cuss you out and
Yeah.
I hold that in and it takes me to a point that, like, I start crying, that's a different
Mhm,
level of upset. I can't even say that it's pissed off because that's not even pissed off because I can be pissed off at something and, you easily get over that, but if I cry, that's not good.
right,
That's not good.
right,
And by
right.
that same token, because Kimberly's comment comes in, very good here. Let's just put it up here again because it really is that passion. Because
Mhm,
by the same token, like how I say I can cry if I'm really, really upset, I'm also that sucker for like if I see let me give you an example of a time I cried, which is kind of crazy. So my little brother, and I imagine he was probably about let's say somewhere within the 10 to 12-year old
mm,
range,
mhm,
and he was in a school play. And so I
mhm.
go to see my brother in this school play, and I'm up there, and he was so good. And I was just like tearing up. Like I'm sitting it wasn't even a sad play. His character
Wow.
wasn't sad. And because I'm much older than he is. So I'm in my 20s. And he's like somewhere 10 and whatever the age difference. But I know I was in my
Yeah.
20s. And I'm just there tearing up at a school play, girl, because I was just so, happy and I just love
Yeah.
seeing that, and every time I see a young person who is, like, really, really talented, and I'm just, like,
Mhm.
looking at them, and I can just, like, see something and see a future in that, I don't know, I get a little
Yes.
I get that little water, somebody
Yeah.
cutting up some onions or something around me.
Right. There's some tears of joy, because you see now they're performing at that age, at that young age. So you're seeing what they can possibly become.
Mhm.
And you're overwhelmed with the emotion of joy, because if they're doing this now, just imagine years from now, they're gonna get better and better if they perfect their craft. So
Yeah,
that's
and
a
if they
beautiful
keep up with
thing.
it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's you know, Happens every time. So I'll be crying. Like if I'm at something and there's young people, I might have to, put my shades on a little something.
Absolutely. And Les says that's part of the problem too. Men shouldn't need anyone to provide that space or allow them to be anything. If crying is a problem, oh well, we probably ain't built for each other. Well, Les, what I mean is not so much as they need us to provide that space. I think we should provide an environment where they're comfortable being able
Right.
to cry in front of
Hmm.
us. Not necessarily that, well, I need her. No, it's not. I didn't mean it that way. I mean that we should provide the environment where they're comfortable. Because a lot of times, like I said, I've actually had male friends to tell me that, a couple of them in particular, like, Tori, you're so easy to talk to. I can express how I feel. And I'm like, well, I can't express that to, their significant. I'm like, did you have that hard conversation with them? And it's like, nah. I was like, well, how they gonna know that you need that if you don't express what you need? I say, because I'm just your friend, but you need to have a conversation with them that's what you need. You need to tell people, what you need so they can correct it. And if they don't correct it or be there for you when you need them to, then hey, you need to move on. It is
Mm,
what it is.
I agree with you. I certainly do.
What's up, Will? He says, hello, ladies. Yes. William Robinson. Reverend Will is in the building.
All right, sir. Good to have you in here. Just having a conversation about the fact that it is okay to cry.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's my party. I can cry if I want to.
Absolutely.
You can
Absolutely.
see these tears. You can get these tears. Absolutely, you
Yes.
can.
Yes. And then Precious Pearl says, in regards to little bro in the play, welling up with pride. Absolutely. That's, yeah,
That's
pride.
that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is
Welling up
definitely
with
what it
pride.
is.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
get you.
And listen, I was also meant to say when it came to when we were talking about Dawn, Coach Dawn,
Mhm.
what sums it up, all of her emotion. She said it perfectly. Uncommon favor.
Come on.
Uncommon favor. What y'all know about that uncommon favor? People used to say, I used to always say favor ain't fair, but I've learned to change that over the years. Favor is fair.
Come
When you
on.
doing what you're supposed to do, you praying and you know that there's a higher power that you're getting your strength from, favor is definitely fair. And I said what I said.
She said what she said and she meant it.
And I did. Uncommon favor. That's what
Yeah.
uncommon favor looks like. And she also, I watched the clip where she was talking about the team, and she said that the players up, and she said she didn't know why she was saying at the time, but she said the three words was expect the unexpected. And I was like, wow. Wow.
Even with the young lady, Raven Johnson, when she
Mhm.
was tagging this season as Raven's Revenge, because
Yes.
Caitlyn, tried to play her. And
Yeah.
so, for her, going into this series and particularly going into this final game, she was like, this is Raven's Revenge. So it was like the Raven's Revenge tour. So these
Mhm.
girls were just like ready, like I said, the disrespect really did come from Caitlyn first. Caitlyn opened up this whole can of worms,
Mm.
and Angel Reese addressed it. And then
Mm.
South Carolina came back and said, "All
Mm.
right, you great and all that, but go ahead, but put your ring finger up. You won't be shining your hand with rings on it." But guess what? The other two teams and the players that she disrespected
Mhm.
can, because
Yeah.
it's a team sport. You can be as
Right.
great as you wanna be.
Mhm.
You can be as great
Absolutely.
as you wanna be, but it takes a team, baby. And South Carolina,
Mm.
come
Mm-mm.
on and raise up. Put them champions up there one more time. Give it up for South
Yeah.
Carolina, University of
Yeah.
South Carolina Lady Gamecocks, the NCAA 2024 Division One Women's Basketball Champions. You know,
Yes.
I didn't even
Yes.
watch the men's final, Tori. I got to be honest. I didn't watch it. Did you?
Uh, Tanya, I ain't watched the women, so you know I ain't watched the
Oh,
men.
Lord.
Listen, I'm being honest. I told you I was watching the highlights. I wasn't knee deep in y'all. I was just you know how I was keeping what was going on with the game. When I would log on to Facebook, you would say you would do a post that I had one of my sisters. She was like lit, son. When it was they played Sunday. Oh my gosh, she was lit. She did a post like every 2 minutes. She was lit. It was lit all the like, what? The gang? What? Yeah, she was showing our bad. So like I said, I was hyped after the post that, the post that y'all was doing on Facebook.
Mhm.
I enjoyed the post. And I think I watched part of the game, probably like the end of I watched the game, and that's only because I was at someone's house and they had the game on. But other than that, I wasn't knee deep in it like that. But I was keeping up with the record and the watching the highlights. Because like I said, I was extremely proud and excited for Dawn because I remember watching her when she was a player herself. Like
Yeah.
when Dawn was playing, that's when I was like into knee deep into sports when she was
Mhm.
actually playing. But I'm just so super excited for her.
Yeah. I was super excited for a whole lot of reason.
Yeah,
Dawn because she is the GOAT. Jolette
yeah,
Law because she's the GOAT. She's our
yeah,
local, and
yes,
not just our local, but she is a GOAT as well. Women's basketball
yeah,
is just like we've got some incredible basketball history right here in our hometown with not only Jolette Law, but also with Pearl Moore, who happens to still hold the record for scoring the most points in women's college basketball. But
mhm,
that's for people who want to look it up and know the real deal. And she's right here
right,
from Florence, South Carolina, the Magic City. They call it the Magic City for a reason because we got that magic. We got that magic. And it's not by accident. It's not by accident.
right,
Too much
right.
greatness is coming out of this city. Too much greatness going on here. That's not by accident. I
No,
don't
it's
know.
not at
Oh,
all.
you know?
And I watched basketball a lot too when I was a student at the College of Charleston. I used to watch the games, the boys and the girls. I used to be knee deep into the games. And over
Mm.
the years, like I said, I just recently stopped watching sports. And like I said, it was just because I was getting so consumed. It was running my blood pressure up. I said, I can't do this no more.
We don't know. Don't let it run your pressure up. We don't need
Yeah, it
that.
was running my pressure. I was yelling at the TV, and I mean some of the like now let me tell you how dumb some stuff I used to say sounded. Okay, there was everybody that knows me know I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, right? So there was one year that the Steelers went to the Super Bowl and they played, and you know how the Steelers is a rivalry between the Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So the Steelers went to the Super Bowl and they was in Dallas new stadium that they had just built, right? So how dumb is this to say? Like when I'm arguing with the Dallas Cowboy fans, I'm like, that's all right. We might not have won the Super Bowl, but we played in y'all new stadium before y'all did. But guess what? We ain't win. We ain't win though. But I'm
Oh
bragging.
my
I'm bragging.
gosh.
Yeah, we got 5 rings. We here we go that we got 5 rings and we played in y'all stadium before y'all had a chance to play. I was like, Tori, you doing too much. So yeah, I had to sit down. I had to sit down. And Miss Mary Fonda Hines Moore says, you're right, not by accident, but greatness is coming out of Florence. Absolutely.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah. How you doing,
Absolutely.
Mary? Good to see you in here again. Hadn't seen her in a while. She usually be in here with us. Hadn't seen her in a minute in the comments. Good to have you
Miss
here.
Tanya, you have a call on line one. Miss Tanya, you have a call on line one.
Tori,
Miss Tanya, you gotta call on line one.
sometimes the people who you think supposed to know better really don't. Some of the friends you have, you can call them friends.
Oh my god.
They know we do Talk It Out Tuesdays at 12 o'clock noon on every Tuesday. Okay? Every Tuesday, Eastern Standard Time. Okay?
Oh goodness.
So I'm not even going to say, why are you calling me?
Tanya, you gotta call on line one.
Just interrupting the show. It's Talk It Out Tuesday, y'all. And that's just somebody who wanted to talk to me on the telephone. Okay? Okay.
Absolutely. It's
Mm-hmm,
all
mm-hmm.
love. It's all love. But
All right.
once again, congratulations to South Carolina. Congratulations to Don, all the players.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just excited for what's going to happen, what's to come, not only in the state of South Carolina. And oh, you know what I meant to say? You said something about earlier about the when you mentioned the disrespect. Let me also say something about the disrespect. Okay, the headlines read
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina won the championship. So South
Mm-hmm.
Carolina won the championship. Why was there pictures of other team and other players? I was not understanding that. So I did catch that shade, but guess what? It was corrected. But nonetheless, you still did it. Disrespectful. Disrespectful. But anyway,
Girl.
congratulations, South Carolina. I'm so proud to be part of be from South Carolina. Where I'm from,
I
the 843 South Carolina, baby.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to I'm glad you mentioned that because that
Mhm.
was happening quite a bit.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, there's
Yeah.
just a whole lot of talk like South Carolina won, but so many people are so caught up with, and I didn't really want to talk about it too much because you got to say the girl name. You got to say Caitlin Carr, and I. It's not
Mhm.
that I don't want to say it because like I am so ready to watch her play in the WNBA. You know,
Mhm.
I watched her play, in college these last couple years. But let's stay focused. We talking about the
Right.
champions right now.
Right.
We're not
Yeah, that's
taking
all I'm saying.
anything away from this girl's game. She's done what she's done, and we're gonna watch her do
Yeah.
what she do, as well as we're gonna watch these other girls as well. Because once again, it's not just gonna be her, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I get it, but, um, if that's the conversation, if that's what you wanna talk about, then it shows that, we got a particular people. I hate to say it, but people wanna break things up into their own little thing, but hey, you
Mhm.
love your team, you love your team. You
Yeah.
love your team, you love
Yeah.
your team. But we saw who won.
Yeah, and
Who won
did.
again? Who won again?
South Carolina, them Gamecocks, baby. Them
Come
Gamecocks
on and
did that.
raise up.
And it was phenomenal to watch. So, like I said, y'all be mindful. Just I'm just like I said, super duper excited, and I'm just Don gave me a I can't even put into words how she have inspired me in so many ways. There's too many ways to
Yeah,
just sum up in 2 minutes, but she has inspired me in so many ways. And one thing that I love about her is her humbleness.
she's more than a
Uh,
coach.
yes, she is so humble. And there's no shame about her faith. And I think
Mhm.
that's a beautiful thing. It is so beautiful. That uncommon is all about that uncommon favor. And with that
Listen.
being said, I'm gonna sign out. I look forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday. I'm gonna let Tanya say her final thoughts, but big shouts out to South Carolina and all the players that made this happen. They
Oh,
persevered and they
yeah.
got that win. So I'm excited. And this is the other thing too that I heard about is the fact that there are a lot of freshmen on the team.
Mhm.
So I'm excited to see what's up next. What's in the future for them. I'm super excited. So you guys stay focused and I'm out. Peace out,
All
y'all.
right, all right. Always good to talk to Tori. I had to go ahead and put my Carolina hat on. I know y'all see me. Let me let you see me big. Let me let you see that thing big. And you see what color I got on? It is by purpose. It is by purpose. I'm looking all Carolina-ish. Yes, I am. Congratulations one more time to the Lady Gamecocks. We had a good conversation today. We were talking about, it's my party. I can cry if I want to. You saw some crying in women's basketball. It's okay. From Angel with her little tears of disappointment, all the way to Joy with her, all the way to Coach Don Staley with her tears of joy. There's passion in those tears. I think we got a comment from Kimberly who expressed it very, very well. It's about that passion. You don't cry for no reason. And so whatever that reason is, whether they are tears of sadness, fear, joy, pain, you got to feel something. That means you feel something. That means you are alive. And definitely it is okay to cry. All right, y'all. Hope you had a good conversation here with us. Thank you for joining us. Always love having you in here with us on Talk It Out Tuesday. I got one more comment I'm going to go ahead and put on up here. I see I got Amari Fox in the building. He said, I cry when my female student athletes win. My issue is the rationalization of Caitlin losing. Why can't it be about the LG's greatness? I don't know, man. They tried to get Dawn with the trans question too. You know what? I wish you was in here a little bit earlier, man, because there's a conversation we could have had with that. And in fact, we're going to save that. We're going to save that. And we're going to come back and talk about it because the media can get out here and try to paint things differently and get things stirred up in the internet, get things stirred up in these internet streets. I don't even want to say that that's their job, because that particular reporter who asked that ridiculous question, I think he was kind of laughed out of the press room a little bit, but I love the way that Dawn handles herself. Certainly, you're not going to be able to rattle her like that. And I feel like that was probably why people were kind of taken aback when they saw her just so moved to tears and not being able to speak. She was a little bit speechless at the moment. She just had to stay in that emotion and feel that. So I was happy. So like I said, my post was, I was like, cry, Dawn, cry. Because that passion, that emotion. So I was glad she expressed that. But we got to get on out of here. Yes, we do. Some of you got to get back to work. I don't want you to lose your job listening to this conversation. I love talking to you. I love, having you in these comments. Love having you just say what you want to say. Express what you want to express. Talk about the things that we should be talking about. Take the story and just take the salationness out of it and see what we can learn from it. Are there valuable lessons there? All right. Well, check this out. It's time for us to go. But before we go, before you get back on that clock, I want you to do something for yourself. This is for us. We're going to do a little breath work. Let's do some breath work. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold a few seconds. Exhale. And hold that a few seconds. Inhale one more time. Hold a few seconds. And exhale. Yeah. And don't you feel great? I feel great. I appreciate you guys. And if nobody gave you a smile today, if nobody smiled today, you just close your eyes and give yourself a big smile and see how that feels for you. All right? Y'all be great out here. That's what we do. One love, y'all.